Hoodwire TV. Follow our content on social media platforms.
Back in LA, we had Operation Hammer. And what Operation Hammer was, that was something when I was a kid growing up, when we were selling drugs, that targeted us. We couldn't figure out why in the jails that everybody looked like us, but everybody was in jail for drug charges, right? And this is the thing about it as I progress and as I'm speaking. This takes us into the courtrooms where a young black man stands a greater chance of not being granted bail. You see what I'm saying? Because or he has a bail that's granted that's so high that he just can't afford to get out. Because now we got to go back to we're gonna have to turn around and take a double reverse to the systemic racism and discuss gentrification and all that there to talk about why grandmama ain't got her house no more and mama and them can't afford to get him out. So he got to sit there and stay there. He's not going to be granted an OR, which means on recognizance, simply because of the fact that somewhere through here, they're going to make him a flight risk. To where if the little white kid is more or less going to come from a family or environment somewhere where they're going to be stable and they're going to have the finances and they're going to order credit and be able to make whatever moves got to be made in order to grant him an OR. One more time, we're going to go back into the systemic racism of black and white when we're going to look at the typical young black man that finds himself incarcerated on a felony charge can't even afford a lawyer, considering the cost of what lawyers cost, to where if we double reverse this and we go back to the young Caucasian man, somewhere in the family, they got a fucking lawyer already on standby, on hold, or something of that nature, right? And as I progress and as I move along with this here, I'm just drawing out parallels side by side to give y'all an understanding of what it is and what it looked like. Because you have to have first a level of understanding of what systemic racism is. See, systemic racism doesn't stand against people themselves. When I say it doesn't stand against people, I mean that every white person ain't prejudiced. But there is a system that was put in place by their forefathers and their ancestors in the fucking beginning of time when you got off that, when your ancestors got off that boat and during the transatlantic slave trade, and they started creating these laws to make sure that you weren't equal. See, remember now, there was a time we live under a Constitution of the United States of America when a black man was literally considered to be 3/5 of a human being. We live in a situation, if y'all don't know this, y'all go look this shit up. If I'm lying right now, if you think I'm lying, I want you to look this up and read this in the United States Constitution and in the fucking amendments. A black man's right to vote is not even a fucking law. It's an act. They have to go back and they have to have a motherfucking vote on this ever so often just to grant black people the right to vote. It's the Voter Rights Act of 1965, to which I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson, but that's what Martin Luther King was pushing, the Voter Rights Act of 1965. And the cold reality of that is that when we look at this for what it truly is, when we think about it for what it truly is, see, this is that system of racism. Because to think about that system of racism that I'm telling you about, the thing about that is that that system exists in order so the fact that you yourself don't have 100% of rights and equality that are granted to you by that United States Constitution that was written when you yourself, or well, not you, but when your ancestors were considered to be no more than property.
Hit the notification bell, like and subscribe to our content at Hoodwire TV on YouTube. Hoodwire TV.